Alrighty, back again with another quick tar, little bead-headed damsel, simple pattern, just using incorporating a few of the newer materials. This little Semperfli gel core micro Fritz. It's actually quite an awesome little material. So I'm using a Patridge ideal streamer with a blood red bead. Just keeping to the tradition of the red-eyed damsel, but being a bead-headed fly, you could use it in stills, on the still waters, rivers, and in the slack water and the slower pools. So yeah, quite a little versatile little pattern. Just laid on some thread. I'm using 18 Nano. Love tying with Nano. Very rarely see me tying with anything else unless I'm tying my larger still water patterns. Then I'll use either UTC, but the classic wax thread from Semperfli is also very nice, so I'm quite enjoying it. Just lay down a bit of thread, sort of stop where just before the barb, where the barb would be. The tail, damsels, just remember damsels don't really have, they're not chunky little creatures, so try and keep things slim. I'm using some Marabou strung in olive. So a small little pinch of that. What I like to do is just twist it once I've pulled it off of the stem, just roll it in your fingers, and it just tightens everything up. Makes it a bit more manageable. Length of the tail, sort of shank and a bit. That's where you get a lot of movement imparted from the tail. So you can fish it relatively slowly, and yeah, that Marabou just speaks out. It'll just, it's movement for free. In this case, yeah, there was one or two sort of stragglers. Never use your scissors to cut the Marabou, just rather just sort of pinch it off. Just gives a bit of a cleaner cut. What I'd like to do is just work the remaining sort of waist pieces forward. Just keep the taper of the body even. If you cut it off directly behind the tail, it's just creates a big step down pointer. You've got to do quite a lot of work to balance that out. And also with this, if you're using like this micro Fritz, this gel core, you kind of want an even runway for it to lay on. I'm going to be using some Midge flash in a Peacock green. Nice little fine flash. And I'm just going to catch that in on top of the flower. I'm not going to put it down the sides like the traditional patterns. Just like to, just two fibers, just something to pop a bit of light off. Just catch that in. Don't stretch it out, just loosely sort of preen it back. And I always like to have my fibers, my flash slightly longer than the tail itself. Like I said, the body, we're going to use this new gel core, micro Fritz from Semperfli. It's awesome stuff. The core of the Fritz is so small. It's not like a traditional sort of micro Fritz where you got to work hard at hiding that core section. This sort of does it for itself. Catch it in, and you can see I've kind of maintained that taper through the flower. Just give it a bit of a tug, straighten it out, and then with not open turns, just slightly touching turns, just work that gel core forward. You can preen the fibers back on every turn, but it's such a cool material, this. Just going to catch light, throw it off, but it doesn't bulk up like traditional Fritzes. So what I'm going to do with this is just work it up right to a behind the bead. Catch it off. A few turns behind and then a few turns in front of the jewel core. Just secures it properly. Remove the waste. Just catch it in nicely. Like I say, it's a very simple flower. Right, for the collar, I'm going to go with some sort of dark olive CDC. Just catch it in a clip of your choice. Remove the CDC, just cut it off from the stem. Take your bodkin. I'm going to do a split thread on this. I don't like forming a dubbing loop unless it's on a massive flower where you can sort of hide that loop section into it. But on these skinnier flowers and a lot of my nymphs and that, I just prefer to do a split thread. Sometimes takes a bit of work to open it up, but it's well worth the time. I've created my little loop. Just insert the CDC carefully, catch it in, tighten it up. And just spin up your thread. A bit of time, but just when you're spinning CDC on a Nano, being slippery, just be careful not to pop. Let the thread jump around on your fingers. The CDC can pop out of the thread at the beginning, but once it's taken a few turns, it's pretty secure. Alright, and just wrap this in and then preen these fibers back on every turn. It's a nice little leggy thorax on it. Just wrap that CDC up to behind the bead. There you have it. You could add a bit of dab of your choice if you wanted, just behind that collar, but I found then it'll, on this type of pattern, it'll just force that CDC too close to the body of the flower and just like restricts the movement of the CDC when you're fishing it static. A few little securing turns of the thread with some super glue on. A 2-turn whip finish. There we go, remove your thread. And there's quite a cool little simple damsel pattern. Work well in the stills, like I say, rivers, stills. Sort of imitative pattern, but yeah, just a quick and easy one if you need to get them out in a hurry. Give them a bash.